What if I told you the thing people criticized me for, questioned me about, and thought was completely unreasonable was the very thing that saved me? I want you to stay with me for a few minutes because by the end of this video, you may see your own life, your own choices, a little differently. We live in a world where everyone expects explanations. Why you do what you do. Why your life looks the way it does. Why you didn't follow the script. You know, the path that everyone else took. And somewhere along the way, we were taught that if we don't explain ourselves, well, we're being selfish. Or maybe irresponsible. Well, I don't believe that anymore. That's a fallacy. Hey, I'm Casey. I live full-time on the road as a nomad. And today, I want to speak with you honestly about why I stopped sharing my plans, why I stopped explaining my choices, and how that decision became one of the most healing things I've ever done for myself. If you stay with me through this entire video, I'm going to walk you through the moment my mindset shifted, the lessons I learned, and believe me, they were learned the hard way, and why living quietly, especially as a nomad, can protect your peace in ways you might not expect. There's a specific realization later on that changed how I moved through the world, and I think it might resonate with you too. This life didn't start the way people imagine. It wasn't a dramatic escape or impulsive decision. I didn't wake up one day and decide to throw everything away. The truth is, I was forced into retirement because of an accident that left me disabled. That moment changed everything. My career ended before I was ready. The future I had worked toward, well, it disappeared overnight. Actually, it disappeared in the blink of a moment. And that period of my life was incredibly difficult. There was grief. There was fear. There was uncertainty about what came next. When something like that happens, you don't just lose a job or a routine. You lose an identity. You lose the version of yourself you thought you were going to be. But here's the part that most people don't know. Long before that accident ever happened, my plan had always been to retire as a nomad, to live simply, to live with less stuff and more freedom, to keep my expenses low and my life flexible. It wasn't something I talked about much, but it lived quietly in the background, in the back of my mind for a very long time. So when everything fell apart, even though it was painful, it also opened a door. Not a door I would have chosen to walk through at that moment, but one that led directly into the life I had quietly imagined. And that's where the tension began. When I started living this way, people didn't understand. Friends asked why I would choose a life without a house, without permanence, without what they considered security. Some thought I was being reckless. Some thought I was running away from responsibility. Others were concerned, but still couldn't wrap their heads around it. At first, I explained everything. I explained the finances. I explained the logistics. I explained the freedom. I explained how healing it felt to wake up in a quiet place, to move when I was ready, to listen to my body and my spirit, instead of a schedule that no longer fit me. And every time I explained, something interesting happened. I felt more tired, not more understood. I felt like I was defending a life that didn't need defending. That's when I started to notice something important. Silence felt better than explanation. Keeping my plans to myself felt safer than laying them out for public opinion. And that silence, well, it wasn't about hiding. It was about protecting something fragile while it was still growing. When you share your plans too early, you invite commentary from people who aren't living your life. People who don't carry your pain. People who don't wake up in your body every morning. And most of the time, their reactions really aren't about you at all. They're about their fears, their limitations, their insecurities, and their need for things to make sense within their own worldview. And that's a fact. There's a difference between being open and being exposed. I didn't understand at first. I thought openness meant complete honesty. I thought honesty meant accessibility. But Not everyone deserves access to your healing, and they don't deserve to know everything that's going on in your life. It's a process. The real turning point came for me when I stopped explaining why I was doing this. I stopped justifying my choices. I stopped trying to convince people that my life made sense to me. I stopped answering questions that weren't actually asked with curiosity, but with judgment disguised as concern. And when I stopped explaining, something shifted. The noise quieted. The pressure lifted. I could finally hear myself think. Living quietly gave me room to heal. It gave me space to grieve the life I lost and grow into the one I was living. It allowed nomad life to be what it truly is for me. Not a statement, not a rebellion, not a performance, but a refuge. There was a specific moment, a conversation with someone I trusted, where I realized that not everyone needs to know your next move. Not everyone needs to understand your why. Some people only need to see the result, not the process. And some people don't even need that. From that moment on, I became more intentional about what I shared and with whom. I stopped announcing my plans. I stopped explaining timelines. I stopped inviting opinions into spaces where they really didn't belong. And here's what I learned. Peace grows when it's protected. Healing happens when it's not constantly questioned. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is move quietly and let your life speak for itself. If you're watching this and you feel misunderstood or pressured to explain why your life doesn't look like everyone else's, I want you to know this. You are not wrong for choosing peace. You are not wrong for choosing the life that you're living. And you are not weak for staying quiet. And you don't owe the world an explanation for a life that finally feels right to you. You're allowed to build a life that works for you, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else. You're allowed to heal in private. You're allowed to grow without an audience. If what I've just shared with you resonates with you, I'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. And if you'd like to share this video with someone who you think it might also resonate with, I invite you to do that as well. Thank you for being here and for listening. I'll see you down the road.